Hello, students. How are you? Happy Monday, May 11th. This is Miss Vetch checking in with you. Look at my slick, backed quarantine hair, and I just don't care. That's all right. So hopefully all is well with you guys, and you are enjoying your reading of To Kill a Mockingbird, great old American classic. You should be working your way done with part one and starting to work your way into part two of the novel. As you are working through the novel, you should also be working on your study guide packet. And let's notice that quote that's on the front of the packet. It says, "The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience." And we already know that Atticus Finch is huge on teaching lessons to our Girl Scout and Jem, of course, about one's conscience and what it's like to walk in another person's shoes. If you recall, that was the example that she was taught from Atticus after she had went to school and ran into some problems. Scout beat up Walter Cunningham, got into some fights with Cecil Jacobs. But Atticus wanted to remind Scout that, life isn't the same for everybody. And I don't want to keep bringing up, well, here we are in quarantine and life is different, but yeah, it's one of those lessons. It is what it is. Life is what it is right now. And it's true. Things are different for everyone. Not everyone has the same home life. So, I'm sure some kids are completely miserable and some kids are high on the hog, loving life. So let's just think about our fellow classmates that maybe don't have life so good right now and send some love, to them. But what we're going to do this week, you're going to watch the movie, locate it. A couple of people told us that it is on that Soap Today website that Kai had shared with us. I posted that in Google Classroom. LJ checked it and said, yes, the movie is available on there. For those of you that have an Amazon Prime Video membership, it is on Amazon Prime Video. Damari checked and it's there. Some of you may have already watched the movie. That's great. But please know that the movie and the book are very different. That's why I had you read part one. Part one of the book is packed with details about character development, who these characters are, what the South in Alabama is about. And that's why this novel is so important, the historical context that it is set in. Let's not forget that Harper Lee actually wrote it in the 60s, but it was set in the 30s because the events of her childhood greatly, of course, affected her, as probably some of these events that are going on right now in our lives are going to greatly affect us. But we might not realize it until like years down the line in our adulthood. We're like, oh God, that's why we're messed up, because this happened in our childhood. That's why we have therapy. Hopefully you guys don't need to go there now, but hey, it's always good to check in with a therapist. Everybody needs to, self-check here and there. So needless to say, we're seeing all these great lessons that Jem and Scout are learning from their dad, Atticus. We have just learned that Atticus has been appointed to defend Tom Robinson. Tom Robinson has been accused of raping Mayella Ewell. And you should have picked up on that there are 4 classes of people in Macomb, Alabama. And you can see on the board behind us, one of the major themes is prejudice and classism. And we all know our great town of Manchester, but let's just think about how the town of Manchester is even divided and broken up. You got like your houses that are all on an acre of land, like out in Whiting, nice neighborhood. Then you move over to say like off of 571, you got the Hollyoaks and some of those newer homes that are built over there. But, if you cross the tracks out there on 571 and you quick look to the right, there's a trailer park. And they also go to our school. And then you can come on down to, say, Pine Lake Park, and that is total suburbia, literally laid out in a grid. Think about how the streets in the neighborhood is set up in Pine Lake Park. It is literally streets that run vertical, streets that run horizontal. It is set up as a grid. If you were like in a drone hovering above, looking down on that neighborhood, that's exactly what it would look like. The houses are all segmented on blocks. You're kind of a little bit closer, together. But then let's also take a look at what's in the front part of that neighborhood. There is a trailer park, and across the street, there is another trailer park. That's fine. I'm not judging on where people live. I'm just saying that these exist around us and we coexist within this world and this society. And although these are prejudices that we don't like to hear verbally said or spoken, we know that they exist. And in the town of Macomb, the same thing exists. So you have your professional working class, like Atticus, who was a lawyer. You can throw doctors and say Judge Taylor and Heck Tate, who's the sheriff, in that class. And then underneath that, you have your working class. So you have your white collar professionals, the doctors, the lawyers. And then we have our blue collar workers, and that would be like the Cunninghams. They're the farmers. In the beginning of the story, we see that Mr. Cunningham had some legal work that Atticus performed for him, and he didn't have money to pay him, so he paid him in consignment with goods, with nuts and wood, and it was a bartering system. And Atticus had to explain this to Scout because she's like, why doesn't he just pay you in money? And Atticus is like, look, depression hit people hard. Not everyone has money, but we need food to eat. We need wood to keep our fire burning so that we can cook this food. So, that's what life is all about. It doesn't always come down to money. Sometimes there's other ways that we can trade and still be able to satisfy the needs of each other. So Atticus is explaining these life lessons, to Scout. So again, our professional white collars, then we have our blue collar group that is like the Cunninghams. And then below them, the third group would be the Yules, who would be considered white trash. Okay. And we are told that they live out by the dump. They are kind of separate from where the rest of people in town live. They kind of live by their own rules. They're allowed to hunt out of season. And people just kind of turn their eyes, so to speak, because they know that these kids have to eat. And although laws exist for a reason, humanity also exists. And that is where we have a huge problem that comes up in this novel. And let's take a look at one of these themes. We have education. It comes down to good versus evil, human morality, and the complexity of it. Hey, it's not always easy. Things aren't always black and white. Sometimes there are some areas of gray, especially when a human being is involved. Okay, and we're seeing that happen right now in today's world, right? We can't just be like, oh, we're doing this, or oh, we're doing that, because we got a lot of sick people and people are dying, and not everyone's circumstances are the same. So it's kind of tough to make that hard rule. And that's why sometimes school and education, it's tough to do that too, because at the end of the day, I don't produce a product to be put on a shelf to be sold for $20. My product is you, a human being that takes care and love and a lot of other things that go into developing and making you into a fine, polished product. And that takes your parents, of course, and coaches and a whole bunch of people in your life to help formulate and make you you. So, Scout is learning these lessons along the way. And then below the Yules, we have then the black people of Macomb. And it doesn't matter if you are smart, if you are the most intelligent, hardworking person in the world. The color of your skin, unfortunately, delineates your place in 1930s Southern society. And that is separate from all of the white people. So now we have these questions of morality being brought, boom, right to the forefront when Atticus is appointed to defend Tom Robinson. Judge Taylor knew what he was doing. He didn't appoint some chump. Tom Robinson is a good man. He's a hardworking man. He made the mistake of trying to help a white woman. Now we must question her morality. So please continue to read through the court case of Tom Robinson and the efforts of his lawyer Atticus Finch as he tries so eloquently to do the best he can to free Tom Robinson of these charges. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. I'm going to do a live stream from 11 to 12 to discuss the outcome of the case, to answer any questions you may have, and to go over a large portion of the study guide packet. before that can happen, before we can go live, I need to make sure that all of you guys actually sign off on documentation that is in the Genesis parent porthole. That's right. Not the porthole, the portal. Okay. So please, you have to sign on to the Genesis parent portal. And there is a document that you need to sign off on for live instruction. You cannot join the session until every kid that wants to join has that document signed off on. So I will be double checking on Wednesday to see who has it checked off and signed off on and letting you know. So this way you can join in, all right? And the link will be in Google Classroom for you. So I look forward to seeing you. I hope you join in. It is optional. It is not mandatory. And whatever notes and information I post, I will make available for you in a note section as well. And I'll post that in Google Classroom. But I really hope that you join in so we can have a live chat. And I can see your face. And hopefully your hair looks better than mine. Actually, my hair, I don't think it looks so bad, you know. Little gel. Once it dries, it gets so bad, you know. Quarantine hair and I just don't care. All right, kids, keep working through that packet. You want to get to the end of chapter 22, which is the trial. Watch the movie, okay? Because after we get through that first part of the book, the movie and the book are very similar until, of course, it's not anymore. And that happens after the trial. All right. I'll be checking back in with you. Keep working. Love to you all. Peace to you all. Miss you. Miss Vetch is out.